them down because I wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything out. First of all, I want to send all my peace and strength to all who knew and loved Laken Riley. This tragedy has hit me particularly close. I know those trails where she met her terrible end. My husband and I were married on a hillside overlooking Lake Herrick 16 years ago. It was a location that was chosen precisely because it was so secluded and sparsely visited. We spent many afternoons training our dog in that quiet, lonely forest, and last year we scattered her ashes from the footbridge. My husband is a runner and has many times taken the same route through that parking lot behind the apartments to access the trails where Laken entered the woods on her last run. A place that holds so many happy memories for me is now forever tainted by violence, and I am as disgusted by the crime as I am by the hysterical glee with which so many have seized upon this tragedy to promote division, bigotry, and hate. This tragedy offers yet another reminder that monsters are real, and they come in all shapes and sizes. With terrifying regularity, they come in the form of white men with weapons of war fueled by mental illness, bigotry, and right-wing conspiracy theory who slaughter classrooms full of school children, congregants in churches, temples, and mosques, hapless shoppers and revelers at concerts, nightclubs, festivals, and parade routes. Mass murders that have become so routine they are met with only thoughts and prayers from the cowardly Republican legislators, governors, and judges who enable unfettered access to such weapons of war. And every day, the monsters come in the form of young men behind the wheels of big trucks and fast cars who ignore the rules of the road, endangering the public with impunity, often walking away from fatal crashes with barely a slap on the wrist. The monsters also come in the form of terrorists and world leaders who occupy, invade, attack, bomb, and lay siege to cities full of innocents, slaughtering women and children by the tens of thousands. This is not the first time murder has brought tragedy to the UGA community. 15 years ago, the monster was a UGA professor who terrorized a neighborhood theater group and murdered his ex-wife and a beloved community leader. 3 years ago, it was a UGA wide receiver who shot an Oconee County Quick Trip clerk in cold blood and went on to kill again 1,000 miles away with the very same weapon. The identity of the monsters who killed UGA students Jennifer Stone over 30 years ago and Tara Baker over 20 years ago in their own homes remains unknown. The deaths of these young women harshly remind us that as women, we are never safe from monsters. Not on a solo jog through the woods, nor a late-night walk across a parking lot, not in the back room of a downtown bar, not even behind the closed doors of our own homes, nor the dressing room of a luxury Manhattan department store. We live in a violent patriarchal society in which even our own bodies are not our own. A society in which desperate mothers are sent home from emergency rooms to suffer unassisted miscarriages as they bleed out on their bathroom floors, and raped little girls are forced to give birth to their stepdaddy's babies. In which at least 2 of our Supreme Court justices have been credibly accused of sexual assault, and at least 3 were appointed by a traitorous, insurrectionist, bigoted, lying, cheating, fraudulent, philandering rapist. I call upon those who are so overcome with outrage over Laken Riley's death to channel that outrage towards protecting the living. I'm very grateful that UGA is stepping up to bring greater safety to many of the often deserted areas of our campus. I have often felt unsafe on campus in my own office in a deserted building during a break. In addition to the measures that called upon tonight, we must demand that our state legislators to ban assault rifles, outlaw guns in public places, including on campus, mandate weapons registration and training, fund access to women's full reproductive care, and strengthen programs and laws to prevent domestic violence, identify abusers, and convict rapists.